Hello there. If you have a Scrum Master interview coming up shortly, then this is the video for you. This is the fourth chapter in the Scrum Master interview question video series. In this video, we will cover the top 5 questions related to Scrum artifacts. Subscribe and click on the bell icon so that you would be notified when we release new videos in this series. Let's get started. We have already released 3 chapters in this video series. If you have not gone through them yet, you can use the links in the description box below to check them out. So let's get started with chapter 4. Question number 28. What is the difference between Product Backlog and Sprint Backlog? Product Backlog is a prioritized list of all the features and requirements for the product, whereas Sprint Backlog is a subset of the Product Backlog and contains the items selected for development during the current sprint. In the case study of food ordering app, the product backlog would have included all the features and requirements needed for the app, such as browse by search, browse by category grouping, user navigation, ordering, payment integration, and more. The product backlog would have been created and prioritized by the product owner. The sprint backlog, on the other hand, is a list of items taken from the product backlog that the Scrum team plans to work on during a specific sprint. For example, during Sprint 1, the Scrum team might have selected the browse feature of the menu from the product backlog and plan to deliver it incrementally during that sprint. During the sprint review for Sprint 1, the Scrum team would have demonstrated the working browse feature to the stakeholders and received feedback. So, the browse feature would have been part of the product backlog and then added to the sprint backlog for Sprint 1. Similarly, the ordering feature would have been added to the sprint backlog for Sprint 2 and payment integration for Sprint 3. Question number 29. What is an increment? An increment is a concrete step towards the product goal. It is a slice of working software that is thoroughly verified and usable. Each increment is additive to all prior increments and supports empiricism, meaning it helps to inform decision making and provide feedback. A sample increment from the given case study can be of Sprint 1, where the Scrum team delivered and demoed the browse feature. This increment provided value to the product by making the browse feature available to the users. The Scrum team ensured that the increment was usable and met definition of done, which is a formal description of the state of the increment when it meets the quality measures required for the product. Question number 30. What is sprint goal? Sprint goal is a short statement that describes the objective or outcome that the development team will work towards during the sprint. Assume that the sprint goal for Sprint 2 is to enable customers to place orders online and track the status of their orders in real time. Here are some more details about how the sprint goal might be achieved. The development team may decide to create a web-based ordering form that allows customers to select menu items, choose customizations like toppings or sides, specify any dietary requirements or allergies, and provide their contact and payment details. The team may also develop a dashboard or portal for restaurant staff to manage incoming orders, assign them to specific kitchen stations, and update the status of each order as it progresses from received to in progress to ready for pickup or out for delivery. To ensure that the ordering feature is usable and valuable, the team may conduct user testing or gather feedback from early adopters to identify pain points, areas for improvement, and any additional feature or functionality that could enhance the overall user experience. At the end of the sprint, the development team should have a fully functional and tested online ordering feature that meets the definition of done and supports the sprint goal. The increment delivered at the end of Sprint 2 might include the ordering feature, any associated user interface updates, and any necessary integrations with other systems or services, example, payment processing or inventory management. The ordering feature increment should be thoroughly verified to ensure that it works with all prior increments, such as the browse feature from Sprint 1, and is usable by customers as defined by the definition of done. By focusing on a clear sprint goal and delivering a coherent increment at the end of each sprint, the development team can gradually build out the restaurant's online ordering system in a way that is incremental, iterative, and responsive to the customer needs. Question number 31. What is DoD and how is it determined? In the case study example, the definition of done (DoD) for the Scrum team's product could include a set of quality measures that must be met for each item in the product backlog to be considered done. A sample DoD for the payment integration increment delivered in Sprint 3 might include acceptance criteria. The payment integration must meet all acceptance criteria defined in the product backlog item. Testing. The payment integration must pass all automated and manual tests. Code review. The payment integration must pass a code review by at least 2 members of the Scrum team. Documentation. The payment integration must be fully documented, including user manuals and technical documentation. Integration. The payment integration must be integrated into the existing system and not cause any conflicts or errors. Performance. The payment integration must meet the defined performance requirements such as response time and load testing. The Scrum team would need to agree on the specific measures included in the DoD and ensure that all work completed during the sprint meets these requirements. By meeting the DoD, the work completed in the sprint can be considered done and can be presented during the sprint review or released to stakeholders. The DoD is a key component of Scrum because it provides a shared understanding of what it means for work to be done and ensures that quality measures are met for each increment delivered. This helps to create transparency and builds trust among stakeholders while also supporting the continuous improvement of the product over time. Question number 32. What is the difference between epic, user story, task and subtasks? In agile software development, epics, user stories, tasks and subtasks are used to help organize and prioritize work. Here are the differences between them. Epics are large pieces of work that cannot be completed in a single iteration or sprint. They are high-level initiatives that are too big to fit into a single user story. Epics are often broken down into smaller user stories that can be completed in a single iteration. Example, order feature in the mobile app could be an epic that is broken down into multiple user stories. User story. User stories are concise, small, and independent units of work that are focused on a specific feature or functionality. They are usually written from the perspective of the user and include a description of the feature, the user who needs the feature, and the benefit the feature provides. User stories are used to define the product backlog and provide a basis for estimating work. Example, as a user, I want to be able to add items to my cart so that I can purchase multiple items at once. Task. A task is a specific unit of work that is required to complete a user story. Tasks break down the user story into manageable units that can be assigned to individual team members. Tasks are usually more specific and concrete than user stories. Example, develop the backend API to handle adding items to the cart. Subtask. A subtask is a smaller unit of work that is required to complete a task. They are used to break down tasks into smaller units that can be completed in a shorter amount of time. Example, write the unit test for the API method that adds items to the cart. In summary, epics are large initiatives, user stories are high-level features, tasks are specific work items required to complete a user story, and subtasks are smaller units of work required to complete a task.